Ready? Pardon the voice. We're struggling a little bit today, but we're gonna make it. Fine. Everything's fine. How we doing? I'm Mackenzie. It is painting time. Like the point of focus is a little out of whack. Fix that. I threw a compressor on my voice last night while we were gaming. So that should help with a little bit of my audio consistency. I don't know why I didn't do it sooner, because I am kind of an audiophile. And I understand the need. We're going to be working on this Havoc this evening. He's mostly complete. I'm almost finished with the trim. Got to do his legs and his power pack. Then we'll be working on a few of the finer details. And going from there. And I will also be eating because I haven't eaten since lunch. All right. Let our natural steel here. This is what I use for the Fervent Storm trim. Hey, Rushtiv. Long time no see. How's life? Did you survive the holidays? It looks like you would have, considering you're well armed now. There's a little too much moisture in the brush. We're doing the famed chaos trim. Pretty good. Got a new gun, new phone, couple kits, ordered some Raphael brushes. We're hitting minis hard in the new year. Let's go. Survive the bomb cyclone that we got up here. You got a bomb cyclone? It was windy, like bad around us. But we didn't have any cyclones. It's terrible. Yeah, it wasn't great. It was not preferable. And ice and snow. As far as I'm concerned, both ice and snow can suck it. because I want nothing to do with either. Unfortunately, I live in the wrong part of this nation for that to be realistic. Got 30 inches of snow in 2 days. Big off storm. Well, I gathered. 30 inches. That sounds absolutely miserable. I want nothing to do with that. We didn't even get one, and I was already over it. And of course I was driving while it was all happening. And so I drove up on like 3 wrecks. Because it flash froze. Because the ground was thawed out, but as soon as the snow hit the ground, it melted. And then the freezing wind came over it and froze it. And of course, all the drivers around us think that they're God. And so weather can't hinder them. See, I'm the opposite. I hate winter and snow, but I don't mind driving in it. There was a semi that was on its side, which was not ideal. Hey, wedding guy. Yeah, snow can suck it. If anyone's wondering why I'm painting chaos again, there is actually a reason. One, my ADHD was telling me to take a break from orcs. Not that I've been painting a lot of orcs, but most of what I have been painting recently have been orcs. Haven't really had a whole lot of time to paint, in case anyone couldn't tell. But Raincloud and I are supposed to be playing our 1,000-point game at some point in the future. When that is, I don't know, because he keeps taking off and leaving, and then we can't do anything. But regardless, I am getting more Chaos painted and more of the Angels of Sorrow painted, because they are who are going to be pitted against one another. Hey, Melodus. Finally get to paint instead of doing errands. I feel that. Rather be cold than hot. See, I'm the opposite. Give me 90 degrees and like 40% humidity over being cold. Because cold to me just registers as physical pain. He's too packed. Chaos everywhere. It is an accurate description. No one has seen chaos quite like mine. Unless you're in my streams, and then you see it quite often. Only the gaming streams. Here we're pretty chill. Sound different? Change settings when I switch to 60? I threw a compressor on my voice because I wanted to fix some of the gain issues because I was having a lot of times where my voice would spike up really high if I got too loud, and it would come down really quiet if I mumbled too much. And if it gets to be too much, I can change a few of the settings and go back. I'm just trying to make the viewing experience a little more consistent. And I'm honestly surprised with myself that I didn't do it earlier, because I'm kind of an audiophile. And an amateur audio engineer. I also have my mic in a slightly different location, so if I need to change anything, just let me know. I feel like it'd be too cold if you sold these. I can't read. I feel like it'd be cool if you sold these paintings you did. Cool to have one. I have thought about doing commission work. Probably only for the miniature space, because that's really the only thing that I do. But I don't really have the time. I have a handful of Rain Clouds miniatures over there that he wants me to work on, and he is commissioning me to do, and I just haven't had time. And when I do have time, I want to be painting Warhammer, so I'm painting Warhammer. Sounds crisp. That's what I'm going for. Cooking and preparing cocktails for a party tomorrow? Oh yeah, tomorrow is a holiday. I have off work tomorrow and I already forgot. But yeah, if I had more time to do commission paints, I absolutely would take it more seriously. Because I know I probably could make good money off of it. I've had several people locally ask me to paint their miniatures, and I've had to turn them down because I just don't have the time. And the only reason I have time to stream right now is because I have reserved the time. And it's about the only time that I really get. Because work has been crazy, holidays have been crazy, family has been crazy. And I am just ready for things to slow down. But it shows no sign of stopping in the near future. Like one eventually? That might be arranged. We could probably work that out. Anything in particular? Because I have painted like D&D minis and stuff. but those are really the only other things I painted beyond Warhammer. I was actually into D&D mini painting before Warhammer. But again, because of time, I didn't really dedicate a lot to it. But I enjoyed doing it. And then I discovered Warhammer. And it really got me into doing it more often. And practicing and all that stuff. I actually haven't painted a D&D mini since I started painting Warhammer. It'd be interesting to go in and give it a go. Any cool gifts from Christmas? I did get this. Hopefully gonna be stocking it up with some speed paints here pretty soon. That was the most major thing that I got. And then the Christmas money was flowing this year. I don't know why, but all of it has been spent on plastic crack. Hey, Shiny Mew Paints, thanks for the follow. Appreciate you. Let's see, trying to keep up with chat here. Supposed to be spending these next few days with some of my family, but they're currently down with a sickness. What? Sorry. It was called for, okay? But that sucks. I'm sorry. Also wanted to pull, how long would you say an individual miniature takes you? Goes from Aldous to, say your average Space Marine, not larger minis. A singular Space Marine, I can have it undercoated and fully painted. If we're just talking like a basic intercessor, maybe 3 or 4 hours. I think that's a pretty good time frame. This dude, I mean, he's pretty standard. I base coated him the blue and the green in about an hour and a half, 2 hours, and then all of the trim and things about another hour up to this point. Might have to see some more ideas and do some thinking. Yeah, we can talk about it. As someone who sold armies, the economy of what people pay for minis is wild. Sometimes you get 100 for a nicely painted character, but it's hard to sell lots of similarly nicely painted models. This is true. Turn yourself up or follow the noise down. I can turn myself up or put my mic closer. Tell me if that helps. I can mess with the compressor too. Bring up my volume a little bit too. Let's see. What kind of paint do I use? I use a mixture of Vallejo and Citadel. That's most of what I use. Vallejo mostly because that's what's available to me. It was a Warhorn. It was a Titan horn. All right, I'm getting really behind. Batch paint. For once someone didn't butcher it. Yeah, I'm doing fine. 3 hours per miniature. Yeah, that's a pretty good average. I can adjust the follow noise. It doesn't occur very often, so I never know how loud it is, but it's down. I didn't even hear it because I'm not hooked up to my PC. Okay. I think we're good now. I can't reach my stuff because of my mic. All right, follow noise is significantly lowered. So now we know. And on the speed thing, Rushtiv, I wouldn't worry about it too much. I'm gonna bring up my voice just a smidge more. I guess I could be listening to myself. That would probably be helpful. Mess with a few more things here. I probably should mess with the compressor. Let me do that real quick. It does sound a little tight. My voice. Nope, nope, nope. Okay, compressor. Boost the attack a little bit. See how that sounds. That actually helped a little bit. Sweet. All right. Cool. I like it. I'm going to keep that up so I can watch it. Sweet. Okay. Back to what I was doing. Trim. Chaos trim. I also had an intrusive thought that, oh gosh, hold on. Okay, that was very loud. I had an intrusive thought that I should do like streaming challenges on Twitch. So like so many subs or something, I have to do an entire stream doing one singular accent or something of that nature. It would be torturous, especially to someone who actually uses that accent. I don't know why. That was just an idea that popped into my head. course, this trim has to be difficult to reach. It's not very well lit either. Did I get anything? I got absolutely nothing. I don't know. Just a reason to give my viewers to torture me. Because for some reason people love it when the people they watch are in pain. I'm gonna paint this tube anyway, so I'm gonna, if I make a mistake and get it on the tube, then it'll all be fine. How are you, Shiny Mew? If you're still here. Painting anything yourself? I assume because of your name, you are a painter as well. There we go. Okay, okay. It's gonna be a pain to get the Nuln Oil back there, but we'll be fine. It'll all be fine and dandy. The world will not change. I also think that's the first time anybody's followed me on Twitch since I moved over to OBS. So that is also a reason that it was extremely loud. Now you guys got me all anxious about it. This doesn't have to be perfect back in here, because it's not even really gonna be seen. All right, you test. Oh, much better. I don't really like the placement, but it sounds better. Might actually have to bring it up. Acceptably loud as benefits a Titan. I'm assuming you are the killer cactus, Rushtiv? Made this email when I was 12. Stuck around everywhere. I feel that. So yeah, welcome to Twitch. Things are a little different than they have been in the past because I've been making improvements for the better. Oh, Twitch chat is absolutely faster than YouTube. Absolutely. It's like instantaneous. YouTube has a 30-second, a mandatory 30-second delay for some reason. I don't know if it has to do with bandwidth or what, but it's totally different. The gang is almost all here. Now, if Raincloud would show up. I keep trying to dip my paintbrush in my coffee. That would not be preferable. Pardon while I get into those tight spaces. Oh, excuse me. Paint flavored coffee does not sound pleasant. Nor does coffee flavored paint. I prefer my paint unflavored. Hopefully I hear from him. I don't expect to be hearing from him. Usually it takes him a day or two to respond to anything from me. We are almost done. This leg. The back of this singular leg. Oh, I didn't ask Rush Tip. What are you painting now? I'm curious. No friend that actually did that before, though, and didn't realize it. Actually did trinket. How are we feeling about 11th edition possibly coming up in the new year? What are we thinking will change? I don't know. Honestly, because I haven't really played 10th edition, so I couldn't tell you. Melodus and I were talking a little bit last night about firstborn units. This is specifically for Space Marines. The possibility of refreshes for what are now currently firstborn units as Primaris units, which is fine, but I really like firstborn Marines. I like my Mark 7 armor and 3 and 4 and 2 and 6. Not so much 5. And I'd like to be able to use Heresy equipment in my Space Marines. But if they eliminate firstborn units, then that won't exactly be possible. Not painting curly since I just got home and he done pack. However, I have my Battle Sister squad fully primed and ready to go. I'm practicing different schemes, painting skills on these girls. The first one kind of looks like a mermaid man from SpongeBob. Was that intentional? Were you going for the mermaid man look? And help me remember, were you were you interested in making a sister's army, or were these just random models that you had to test on? Because I'm just saying that we could certainly write a campaign in the Tanite Crusade that includes Sisters of Battle. We got hybridized styles with the new Space Wolves and Stern Guard. Hoping we get new intercessors that are basically tacticals with the Mark 10 mixed with the classic designs. That would be sweet. Yeah, it'd be cool if they could modify old marks of armor to fit Primaris Marines. That's the ideal situation, in my opinion. If we could modify some Mark III to fit my bigger big boys, that would be wonderful. Orange and teal, not really intentionally. Originally wanted orange and black look, but black wasn't coming through how I wanted. The black wasn't coming through? Not the orange? That's kind of interesting. Because orange is like super difficult to paint. Look at those new wolves. They look insane. Should have been what Primaris always were. I agree. I wholeheartedly agree. Need to figure out dinner. I need to eat my dinner. It's been sitting here waiting on me, and I haven't been eating it. Don't mind me while I'm over here being a slob. Okay, legs might be done. Now we gotta get the power pack. And all will be okay. These girls were my very first minis ever. Went to the local card game shop and decided to get some minis. My girlfriend chose the sisters over some rubrics. Thank God. Yeah, I don't wish rubrics on anyone. I initially thought about doing a sisters army, read the rules, and decided they weren't for me. They're cool. Just don't like how they play compared to the guard. That's valid. Very valid. I thought about doing some guard myself here in the near future. I said last night on stream that maybe I didn't say it on stream. It might have been off stream. We talked a little bit after the stream ended. But I almost picked up the Krieg combat box. Almost. But then I got the Death Watch and the Vanguard Vets instead. Because with the flow of Christmas money, I did not buy any standard Space Marines, which is very unlike me. Because normally I'd be picking up Space Marine kits left and right. But the majority of what I ordered was Chaos. Actually, all of what I ordered was Chaos. And if the store I went to had a bigger orc selection, I probably would have gone that route. But all they had were Beast Snagas and Snickrot. And I didn't really want to go for either of those. So, something I learned over Christmas, Amazon has a service called Amazon Haul, where it sells its overstock very cheap, not super high quality. You can pick up tools, brushes, and other hobby supplies for less than $8 per item. That's sick. I'm gonna have to look into that. I do need to buy some more hobby supplies. I was telling you guys in the patron chat, I'm thinking about trying to get away from Citadel washes. So I was looking at the Vallejo washes and I was looking at the AK washes. And I might go with the Vallejo just because I've been painting with Vallejo for so long that I'm pretty familiar. Just because, I mean, Citadel washes are good. Don't get me wrong. But I want to try something else to see if I like it better. Won't be name brand stuff, obviously, but scrolling through, I found brushes, pin vise drills, snippers, hobby knives. That's pretty legit. I will definitely look into that. On 32mm bases that come in a pack of 100. See, that'd be nice. I wanted to pick up some more 32s. But the shop I was at didn't have any. Need more washes. Don't use much besides for bases and vehicles. As I've gotten better, always nice to have an option though. Sure, they'd be great for my upcoming beastmen. Yeah, they just might. I love washes. Like, I know there are other ways to go about it. And I mean, it's good to be a better painter, but I just love the way, especially with the Fervent Storm. I think it fits their scheme really well. I just go over the entire model with Null Oil, and it just does so much for the model. Like, okay, so here's before the wash, and here's after. It's totally different. And I really don't feel like it needs anything else beyond that. But, I mean, I did it for the Contemptor. I went in and I cleaned up all the panels and stuff after the wash. And it looks good. But the only reason it looks good is because I did the weathering after. And these guys don't really have a ton of weathering because with all the trim and stuff, it just kind of gets lost. Washes are a very nice way of adding grime and shadow to a model, especially when painting in an army. It's a realistic way of painting. It is. Absolutely is. It's good to practice advanced techniques, but remember you're painting 2,000 points of these guys. So after my the rest of my chaos comes in, and it's not even traditionally chaos. I'm getting the 30k Mechanicus Tech Thralls, which is 20 models. And then I'm getting the Skitarii Rangers, 10 models. And I'm going to be listing them all as Trader Guard. But they're all going to be in the Fervent Storm as Dark Mechanicum forces. And so once they arrive, and I may have also gotten the Warp Forged box, which comes with 2 Obliterators and a Venom Crawler. I will be just over 2,000 points. So the Fervent Storm will have is like 2,055 points is what it's going to come out to. And I'm kind of excited for that. Especially since I've never painted Mechanicus models before. And I think that's going to be interesting. But I'll be running in the list 3 units of 10 Trader Guard. So the Tech Thralls will be split into 2. And then the Skitarii will be 1. And I'm going to attempt to do some kit bashing to try to make something that looks like a functional sergeant for the Thralls. Maybe give him an antenna or something to show that he is in quote-unquote command or being controlled by, I don't know, a Dark Mechanicum Tech Adept in their battle barge or something. Yeah, they look sick. GW minis definitely benefit from those washes. I'm a certified oil freak, though. It's the hardest Warhammer painting I've done. I'd have to think about that. Because the way I approach Warhammer painting is it's not hard, it's just a hill I have to climb. I don't really think of it as a challenge, it's just something that I do to varying degrees. Let's see. Everything I've painted has been pretty simple. I did spend a long time on the big mech in Mega Armor. I don't know why he took so long. It's probably because of all of the finer details on him and like the custom force field. Because realistically, he shouldn't have taken stupid long. But he took a relatively decent amount of time. I think he took me about 7 to 8 hours. And I didn't even do any edge highlighting or anything. It was just all the little bits on him. He would probably be the most time consuming. I mean, you would think these would be fairly time consuming. My Brutalis Dread, he took a while. And this is, I was still a relatively new painter when I painted him. So I know a lot of things that I would go back and do differently now. If I remember right, he took a while. But the Contemptor, I think I got the Contemptor done in about 6 hours. It was over several sessions, but he wasn't that hard. And he came out looking fantastic. I'm so happy with the way he looks. And once I get a few more units painted, I probably should do a showcase. But like, with an army of these guys down around him, it's gonna be insane. And he will be in the 1,000-point list. So don't worry about that. This is probably one of my favorite models that I've painted. That and the Big Mech. Just because I just love to look at him. I'm so proud with how he turned out. Between the modeling and the weathering and the basing, this base is probably one of the best bases I've ever done. Yeah, super pleased with all that. But I also haven't finished painting all of the Contemptor's weapons. It is a lot of work, but it's very fulfilling. That's one of the reasons that I do this as much as I do, is because there's no greater dopamine hit than whenever I finish a model and I can just sit back and look at it. Like this guy here. I attempted a different method for the claws. Because the Fervent Storm, they have an affinity for fire because they are part salamander. So I wanted to show that they're hot. They convey heat. So I went for a little bit of a heat approach. So I did the whole thing in orange. And then I dry brushed white. And then over the white, I did Imperial Fist. And it turned the white into yellow, and it gave just enough of a contrast that it looked like it was glowing. And then I did a little bit of sponging of black to show even more heat. Like a little bit of a magma look. And I thought it looked good. So. And then sometime I'm going to paint my Abaddon, which is not Abaddon, it's Yanato Sibilska, the Chaos Lord of the Fervent Storm. When will I get to him? I don't know. It'll probably be soon, since I am painting more Chaos. Oh, also, for my patrons, I don't know if you guys saw it or not, but I added a channel in the patron Discord. Of some of my personal music projects that I've been working on over the last year or two. Just no particular reason, just if anyone wants to check it out. That is there for your enjoyment. It will likely never be released. Because I am not a professional. But if that's something that you want to observe, the drive is in the patron Discord. By the way, if you become a patron, you do get special access to special channels within my Discord. Every cent that I make off of the Patreon goes either back into the production of this channel or into the hobby. My patrons are very well aware. They helped fund my new graphics card that went into my PC, which has dramatically improved everything in my streams as far as quality goes. So I'm very thankful for that. Is anyone really ever professional? Let's be real. We call people professionals, but we all just know enough to do all right. That's valid. Very valid. And I have a musical and audio background. So I know enough to get by. But it's not something you would hear from a paid studio or a paid engineer. Because one, I'm poor. And two, I don't have time. So I do pretty much everything on my own. Music is life for you? It used to be for me too. So I used to dedicate absolutely every fiber of my being to becoming a professional musician, like for a living. And then real life kind of struck, and it was a dream that kind of died. Like, I was in a couple bands. That was about the extent of it. Because things got hairy in that department, and I kind of had to depart. And then I discovered Warhammer. So this is one of my primary hobbies now. Not to say that I don't still enjoy doing music and writing and recording and stuff like that, but it's not a priority like it used to be. A lot of goals and achievements for the music side of things. Well, that is admirable. I did not have any goals set last year. And then I just kind of started doing this and it took off. And then I met you guys. And then we just kind of went from there. What genres? Assuming metalcore, deathcore. It's actually it's along the lines of more metalcore. But one could also argue hard rock. I would classify it as deathcore, but I'm also not a super talented guitarist. I actually started on piano. So I do a lot of keyboardy things. And there's a lot of that in the music stuff. Love to be in a band, but I also love being on my own. Trying to book gigs for the brand New Year. Trying to finish all my songs that aren't done in my lists. Over 100 originals. I have several, but not that many. Form a church? I do. It's about the only musical outlet I have at the moment, besides being on my own. Need to learn more on keyboard. That is definitely my forte. See what I did there? It's a music thing. Did trombone as a kid and transitioned to drums. Did vocals and guitar for some shows in high school. Also, all covers. Didn't really have the talent or desire to get actually good. See, I didn't either. Until I realized that bands were an achievable goal. And then I was like, hey, there's a practical application for this. Because I used to just hate it. I hated piano lessons, I hated practicing, but I loved music. Most of the reason I hated it was because I didn't feel like it was benefiting me. But that quickly changed when I discovered the practical application. So then, after I did a few more years of piano lessons, actually, it was in the midst of my piano lessons, I started teaching myself how to play everything else. So, uh, guitar and keys and like synths and stuff, and drums and bass, and I'm kind of all over the spectrum musically. Genre wise, however, that is not true. I'm kind of a stickler for various genres. I'm not a gatekeeper, I'm a hater.
I was wondering where it was at.
My stream is being disrupted. Learn more on my banjo and mandolin too. I've never played a banjo. I've played a banjotar, which plays just like a 6-string guitar, but it's on the body of a banjo. It sounds like a banjo, but it plays like a guitar. It's weird. Played drums when I was like 8, did lessons for like a year, never went anywhere with it. Then in 6th grade, came and tried out for a band, got selected to play alto sax. Played from 6th to 12th grade, haven't touched in about 5 years. Were you a band kid? I was not, but I feel like I have to ask. Get in a band, want to go out with them on certain occasions. For once in a while, not all the time. Equal it out 50-50 of each. Me on my own and then with them. Yeah, I wanted to dedicate everything to being in a band. And I was ready to. And then I got a job. That kind of put a stop to that. Because my job kind of conflicted with the band schedule. Never know what to classify my music as. Indie pop. Interesting. So, pop is on one of my absolutely despise this, but that's more like modern pop. I have never in my life liked pop music. Period. Didn't matter the artist, didn't matter the time period. Didn't like it. Wasn't a band kid. I had girlfriends and like doing dumb shit with my friends. Just a kid that was in band, hated having to do marching band, but loved orchestra. Hated anime, fedora wearing kids that were in there with me. So the weebs and the magic players is what I'm hearing. Choir was the best in school. See, I didn't have the opportunity to do choir. I probably would have been good at it. Because I do have relative tone and pitch. I can pick out harmonies and melodies, but that's also because I'm a piano player.
Don't smile.
What?
Don't show teeth.
Huh?
Don't show teeth.
I can't be a subject when I have to be.
Just look my way. You look drunk.
That was probably a messy mistake, but it's fine. Okay. So I think we're done with the trim. I'm going to do the cabling. Yeah, I'm going to do the cabling. I'm going to null and oil. And then we'll come in and hit everything else that we will have to put agrax on. I was also in Boy Scouts. Got a little double dose of weebs and magic kids. Don't get me wrong, I played some magic, but I also knew how to shower. Never really watched anime till my college roommates forced me to. I passively watch anime. I'm not a die-hard anime lover. Yes, apparently I signed up to be a photo subject tonight.
Hey. You're being nice.
I don't have to be nice. You signed up tonight? I thought you said you signed, or I thought you signed up when you put a ring on it.
Yeah. Who said that, Malidus?
No, it was Rushdiv.
Oh.
You're not wrong. Anime is not really your thing. There are a few anime that I enjoy and that I will sit down and watch when I'm in the mood. weird. OBS quit for some reason. It's fine. Everything's fine. It was an OBS issue. The fact that I'm known by screen name in your house is equally disturbing and hilarious. Well, you are a patron, so you get special treatment. Had a major phone addiction. It's not good because I have some things I need to be productive on and get done. That's me every day. Not the phone addiction part, but it's usually because I don't have time to get things done. Okay, it's okay if I get some on the rounds because they're going to get a coat later anyway. I have to go in and clean this up. We aren't first name basis yet, but it's weird hearing my gamer tag said out loud in casual conversation. I'm to the point now where I just refer to pretty much everybody as their gamer tag. Been playing Among Us? That's dangerous. I've been trying to push for Among Us recently. My thing is I don't like playing with random people. So it makes things a little difficult. We could play together. Need to step up my miniature photography skills. Feel like my pictures always let my painting down. I am in the same boat. Something that needs to be addressed. Because I take it all with my phone, but my lighting is never the way I want it. And I want it to be Instagram worthy because I do put pretty much everything on my Instagram. By the way, my Instagram has been blowing up recently. I've gotten over 100 follows just in the last like 10 days. Was due for a phone upgrade and I was able to get a new iPhone Pro Max or whatever. Shouldn't have an excuse for my mini photography. Well, even on a crappy old phone, it's all about lighting, and I can never nail the lighting. It's always super overexposed. But then if I move the light further away, what, cat? If I move, no, that is not for you to touch. If I move the light further away, then you can't get any definition. What's my Among Us stuff? I have no idea. It's all on Steam. Instagram is my top most active busy app I use. Yeah, me too. I used to be super active on Facebook until about 2-ish years ago. And then I got off. And I never really had a desire to be on it again. So I just don't. It's not really a platform that I feel the need to be a part of. So I use Instagram for everything. Just saw the pic. Are you sending stuff in my Discord? I feel like I'm being ousted. You're showing them all of my secrets. The tubes? Oh, the tubes on the head. Ya doy. Let's see. There's just gonna be a lot of red on this guy. Of course, my hand slipped at the worst possible time. My other relatively unused brush right here. You guys like the drawer action here? Ooh, no, 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 no. This red is getting out of hand. Okay, we're gonna try that with the sharper one. This is the one I use for all my freehanding, but it's being demoted to painting thin tubes. I can get a grip on it. Guess it's not super critical because I can go back and clean it up because I haven't done the wash yet. iPhone is also ancient by Apple standards. I have needed a new one for many years, but I'll keep going until it just finally gives out. Yeah, I had an XR up until a couple years ago. Actually, it would have been 3 years ago. Because now I have a 14 Pro. And I got it not long after the 14 came out. But I am also due for an upgrade. Or just a hard drive cleanout. That's also a thing that needs to happen. Because my phone is very full of pictures and videos. Close. All right. Literally got the 17 Pro Max today. Massive. Probably wouldn't get a Max, but at least a Pro because I like having the better camera. As soon as these tubes are done, I'm going to go in and clean up all the exposed tubing underneath. Let's see. That would be gunmetal gray. Also from Vallejo, if anyone was curious. It's the difference of $3 a month for the payment. So it was really not a debate. Of course. Oof. All right, that was unnecessary. Squirting paint everywhere. It was clogged, and that was something I was trying to avoid. Lead Belcher Supreme. I wouldn't know because I don't use enough Citadel paints. But I am a fan of the gunmetal gray. It's way better than Apple Barrel, I'll tell you that. Granted, that's a pretty low bar. 99-cent paint versus $5 paint. Actually, it's $3.99. Keep a thicker gauge needle. It's perfect size to clear out Vallejo nozzles at my desk. I did. Don't know what I did with it. I do have a bunch of sewing pins that I bought for basing and stuff. Could be using that. All right. Back on the head. Still implore people to try the Momentum Hobbies Pro Acryl. Such a good paint. Haven't had to thin it out of the bottle. I think you've mentioned that before. I just haven't gotten a chance to look into it. Let's see, how much of this do I have left? There's some. A little bit of cleanup right here. Nice, nice, nice. Very nice. Sweet, even. All right. How are we looking? Also, hello all 9 of you on YouTube. If anybody's working on any projects, I'd love to hear about it. I missed that. There's a whole brush pass on this trim that didn't get done. Okay. I think we're good. I think we're ready for the wash. Just double check. I don't want to have to go in and rewash anything. I'm going to go ahead and fill in the grill. Sometimes I don't. Because the wash kind of does it for me. But I'm going to do it there. First model of my 2026 painting schedule done ahead of schedule. So it's the last model of 2025 is what you're saying. Oh, there's like 3 drops in the bottom of this Nuln Oil. And I keep saving it. I keep adding stuff to it to try to make it last. But at what point do I decide to say screw it and just use the new pot? Because the new pot is so much fresher. Well, yes, unless I get these intercessors done. Wish I had the energy to paint. I think one of my biggest things that holds me back is the amount of work it takes to set up, to paint, and clean up. Don't have a dedicated desk or space. Small apartment. That's one thing that I'm blessed with, is I actually have a space. I have to use my gaming desk. I'm going to use the new pot. Yeah, I don't know if I would be able to use my gaming desk. I feel like the amount of cleanup would drive me crazy. As if there's anything that I hate in life, it's cleaning up. There are very few things that I hate more. Bit of a slob, so I don't mind my palette paints and minis while I'm at work. Oh, that'd be awesome. If I could have my palette paints and minis while I'm at work. I can't, but it'd be awesome. My job doesn't really allow for it. Yeah, we're just going for it. Actually, I probably should use the thinner brush. Make life a lot simpler. I'm gonna do that. Hi, Green Forest. Use my gaming desk as where I paint. I can imagine that it sucks. Sure, you could get something figured out on the tractor. I doubt it. It requires a lot of active attention. I'm also only in the tractor for 2 months out of the year. Yeah, I have a desk right next to my gaming desk. That I have set up to be my station. So I can literally just roll my gaming chair back and forth between my desk and my PC. For me, the main problem is not having a permanent place to store paints. I used to have that problem, and then I got this organizer, and it has changed everything. Sorry, I went a bit off course, boss man. I was painting eyes. Uh. So every time you paint, you have to bring up the plastic bag with the most used paints. I did start out that way. Thankfully, over the course of 2.5 years, I finally don't have to pull my paints out of a drawer. Oh, Rain is chatting now? See in the Discord? I haven't actually looked. At this point, my biggest problem is finding somewhere to keep all the minis I have already painted. Yeah, I feel that. I have one shelf back there that has everything. And it only stands about 3.5 feet tall. And it does not do the job well. The other shelf is full of Transformers. And as much as I wanted to display my Transformers, I may have to remove them. And spread out my Warhammer again. In 2 years for me, apartment is still small. Custom Chaos Warband? It is. This is my warband, the Fervent Storm. So every model that I've ever painted has been fully custom. So I have 4 Space Marine homebrews, 4 Chaos homebrews, Orc homebrew, a Deathwatch homebrew, a Tyrannid homebrew. I'm kind of just all over the place. But that's my favorite part of the hobby, is homebrewing and writing stories and lore within the Warhammer universe. And I don't even play the tabletop. I collect armies so I can visualize the lore that I'm writing and that I'm working on. And that is my absolute favorite draw to the hobby. Is that not the point? I believe it is the point. I think it would be fun if I got to consistently play the tabletop, but that's not openly available to me. But it's not a priority. I am going to be playing the tabletop. Thank you, Melodus. Raincloud and I will be playing a 1,000-point game to celebrate me getting 200 subs on YouTube. At some point. We're still waiting for our schedules, mostly his schedule, to line up. Because his schedule is needlessly busy. Wildwind something? Current warband? I don't know if I understand. Yes, these are the Fervent Storm. So they were founded as a successor chapter, supposedly of just the Salamanders. And they were an Ordo Militant of an Inquisitorial Ordo that has been written out of history, as most things are. And in an attempt to discover more about their origin, because Their chapter master believed that they were being lied to. And this is the Cliff Notes version. They killed the Inquisitor who was in charge of their creation and were declared excommunicate traitores and were almost completely wiped out by the Red Hunters. And so, as most traitor warbands, they retreated into the warp, were corrupted, more so by chaos. They were already kind of corrupted. After the whole, oh, we're being lied to thing. And discovered that part of their gene seed was actually from the Iron Warriors. And now they stalk the galaxy, particularly a region known as the Raytheos Pit subsector, because that's where their home planet was. And they are one of the cogs of Vashtor. So they serve Vashtor now. And in their current writings, they are partaking in an event known as the Alperan War, which is something that I'm writing, to take a system for Vashtor and turn each planet within that system into his hell forges. Salamander Traders. Do you have time to tell the full version? Never heard of the Red Hunters? That would explain them being awesome. So the full version, I mean, I kind of went into the deeper details, but their chapter master, Yanaro Sibilska, went into some Imperial records on Terra in an attempt to discover more about the chapter's origin. Because the way that the chapter did war, he believed was not inherent to the salamanders strictly. They do have an affinity for fire and hot metal, but he felt that something was wrong. And so he discovered in his research that the Iron Warriors were brought up in their creation. And so he ended up confronting the Inquisitor, who was in charge of their creation, and discovered that she was using her position as an Inquisitor of this particular Ordo to usurp governments, planetary governments, and take them for herself, and also bring these planets under the influence of chaos. So chaos kind of already had a little bit of influence in their creation. And she used them to forcibly take over these planets. They are siege specialists, hence the Iron Warriors part. But they like fire, and they like watching things burn, especially planets. Oh, sorry. I don't believe I have access to bits yet. I don't have enough followers. The only way you can support me monetarily is on my Patreon. So you can subscribe at the $1, $5, $10, or $20 tiers. Each of those tiers will give you access to special channels on my Discord. But yeah, I'm not big enough on Twitch to do anything fancy like that, unfortunately. But hopefully we'll be at that point by next year. That would be great. Mention an Inquisitor? Yes. So the Inquisitor that was in charge of their creation was holding out some of this information that they were of the Iron Warriors lineage, as well as the Salamanders lineage because of their affinity for fire, but also hot metal and their affinity for siege warfare. But he confronted this Inquisitor, Yanaros, their chapter master. And a lot of it was revealed because of the confrontation. And she thought that they would have already been corrupted and subservient to her. Well, he didn't like the fact that he was being lied to, and the rest of his chapter. So, he, while also under some minor chaos influence, killed her, which caused her to disappear. And the Inquisition came looking for her and approached them because they were on record as the Ordo Militant for her particular Ordo. And they confronted them just to find her as a burnt, mangled corpse atop his command throne on their battle barge. This, as you can imagine, did not go over well, and so the Inquisition summoned the Red Hunters, who are a canon chapter. They're really cool. They are a very secretive chapter who report directly to the Inquisition and routinely have their minds wiped. It's kind of a neat concept. But they're very similar to the Minotaurs, except that they respond directly to the Inquisition rather than the High Lords. And so they were sicked on them. And the chapter did not do well because some of the chapters still remained loyal to the Imperium. And so they attempted to atone by not fighting back. Sorry if this is going too slow. I'm trying to focus on this wash as well. Oh, wow. Okay, sorry. I need to be paying more attention to chat. How many bits for you to paint Eldar? A lot. But you also can't give me bits, so... Inquisitors can make Space Marines. Inquisitors can request that a Space Marine chapter be founded within the bounds of a founding that is already approved by the High Lords of Terra. So that is how they were founded. was she made a request to have an Ordo militant for her particular Ordo. So they would function all like the Sisters of Battle for the Ordo Hereticus, and the Grey Knights for the Ordo Malleus. Similar to that vein. Human telling a son of Peter Turbo that. Thought maybe Red Hunters would be your creation. They are not. They're canon. Not a whole lot is known about them except that they show up to do the Inquisition's bidding. And that's really about it. Not Minotaurs. Slow down. All right. So yeah, they retreated into the warp and they culled their loyalist numbers. They were chased by the Red Hunters. But the Red Hunters did not follow them into the warp. So they retreated into the warp, culled their numbers. Their navigators were actually all killed by the Red Hunters' psychers. So they couldn't navigate through the warp. So they kind of just had to hope that they were going in the right direction. And yeah, Yanaros pledged he and his remaining battle brothers to the forces of chaos, undivided. They don't serve any one particular... Well, they didn't serve any one particular chaos god. And then they fell under the eyes of Vashtor. And now he is supplying them with weapons and demon engines in exchange for his service. So now they're taking part in the Alpran War, trying to take this system for Vashtor to create his Hell Forges. And they are being assisted by one of my other homebrews, the Putrid Maw, which are a group of world eaters who are partially pledged to Nurgle. Eye of Terror. It was not the Eye of Terror. It was actually the Maelstrom. I'll leave money in an unmarked manila envelope under the table of your local Dairy Queen, if that's what it takes. I'll tell you where my Dairy Queen is. Lots of ways to retreat into the warp. Is Vashtor not bad? World Eaters for Nurgle? Okay. Vashtor is... Well, he's kind of bad. He's trying to become the 5th Chaos God. And also, he is the god of technology and innovation. Yeah, so I'll show you what they look like, my world eaters. They are world eaters who have succumbed partially to Nurgle's rot through an odd growth known as the bone spores. I'll show you. Maelstrom is the big new campaign along 500 worlds, as revealed in the leaks today. Is that why the Huron thing happened on Christmas? Because that would make a lot of sense. Also, that command squad for the Red Corsairs looks sick even with potato cam, but I know you're more interested in the elves. You know what? I'm not going to paint elves in spite of you, because I hate elves. Now that I think of it, it actually makes a lot of sense that some world eaters would swap from Khorne to Nurgle. Please no Huron spoilers. I have not yet read the books. Duly noted. I haven't read the books either, but I know some about Huron. So, the Putrid Maw, some of their numbers have been fully transformed into Plague Marines. Here's one that I have painted. It'll be in focus. That's good enough. So, they are world eaters, but they have fallen Nurgle. And then this is my kit bashed Master of Executions. Pics in the Discord. The Discord is blowing up. I'm gonna have to stop and look at that too. It's fantastic. So yeah, some of them have fallen entirely to Nurgle. Some still remain loyal to Khorne, such as this dude here. This is just a handful of models. They serve both Khorne and Nurgle. They acknowledge both, but they acknowledge them as both greater and lesser deities. So yeah, that's kind of their shtick. They all serve. They're led by a great unclean one known as Festerax, who is responsible for creating the bone spores. And he is over there, and he's not yet painted. He is undercoated, but I haven't started the painting process yet. But he leads them, and they call him the Prophet of the Garden, because Nurgle's garden, and he created spores. And yeah, that's also what these white bloody things are growing out of his armor. He doesn't have one. He has one. I swear the fat one made me jump. I'm really proud of how he turned out. I made him a while ago. But he is my Master of Executions. So, anyway, that is who the Fervent Storm are allied with. Yeah. I think we're done with the wash. I think. I need to plug my phone in because it's almost dead. All right. Well, thank you. I appreciate it. Like I said, homebrew is my absolute favorite part of the hobby. I have Loyalist Space Marine homebrews, Chaos Space Marine homebrews. I'm all over the place. Do you have a place where you post pictures? My Instagram, that's the primary place. I do keep my patrons up to date in our patron chats that are over on the Discord if you'd like to become a patron. And patrons also get to partake in some collective writing that we're doing in an event called the Tannine Crusade, which is against an orc Wa called Wa Vogadag. And it's a combination of a lot of factions, and there is a tactical document that we've created, or that I have created for it, that everyone has access to. So yeah. I don't believe I have Instagram as a command because I'm not a Twitch aficionado, but you can go to my page and it's linked there. All right, so I think we're ready for the other colors now. So the rounds will all be brass or bronze, and then this chain will be bronze. Put these back. That's okay. Sometimes I might put them in my Discord, but a lot of the times my patrons are the ones who get the active updates. And they'll show up on my YouTube too. On occasion, I'll make a post on there. Because that's apparently a thing you can do. Whatever those nightmare things you had in that one dude's neck will haunt me till I die. Yeah, so those are the bone spores. So they are responsible for the warband being corrupted by Nurgle, as well as Khorne. Just some to a greater extent than others. And those who were the greater extent have become Plague Marines. And I also have 2 other Chaos Warbands. Only one other of them have models that I haven't painted yet. But they're on my list. There's the Cult of Anguish and the Amorphous Paragon. You're a bone spore? I appreciate that, Melodis, for more reasons than you know. That is my favorite format of insult. Is just taking whatever anything anybody else says and turning it back on them. Like how you've been ignoring YouTube for the duration of their talk. Yeah, I'm just letting them have their conversation over there. Do you have some hyperdoc somewhere? I do, but I keep it available only to my patrons. And I'm constantly updating my homebrews, so those have a tendency to change. Either I find new information or I'm adding lore. Things like that. Try a lot to do my own homebrew, but creativity be struggling. Can't come up with shit like Bone Spore. I spend an unnecessary amount of time working on homebrews. Maldish has all the right to encourage my insults, thank you. Even the child has begun to pick up on it, and I'm here for it, much to her mother's disdain. I think it's hilarious. But I am alone in that sentiment. Yeah, I introduce my brew just for comparison. Sure. I actually have a dedicated homebrew channel on my Discord for people to drop their homebrews. If you'd like to throw it in there, I will absolutely take a look at it. Have you updated the Cult of Anguish? I'm rooting for those dudes. Not recently. They've kind of taken a back burner since I've been working a lot on the Reliquary Brotherhood. But now that you say that, I could work on the Cult of Anguish some more. I've been working a lot on getting them, trying to make them make sense.
Don't insult me.
Yeah, I don't actually have a Twitch bot set up, so that is also on my page. Because again, I'm not a Twitch aficionado. Somewhere down the road, I will do that. When I'm thinking about it. I didn't realize it was a necessity. But I suppose I should. I actually, this whole streaming thing started out on YouTube, and that's how Rushtiv and Malidus and I all kind of met. It's because they jumped in my chat. And the rest is history. I was looking recently. I started this whole streaming thing back in February. So we're almost at the year mark. Which is kind of hard for me to wrap my brain around. Because it doesn't feel like I've been doing it that long, but I'm a lot more comfortable streaming than I used to be. It's all just pretty chill now. But I'm still bad at Twitch. But I haven't been doing Twitch as long. Trying to paint the Imperial Guard 155th Regiment of Sikoris Prime. Sikoris is a planet defined by corruption and decadence for basically 11,000 years. The elites have exhausted Hive Planet, mostly able to ignore the rest of the galaxy except for the occasional tithe. Only been here for like 4 months. These streams have doubled my painting output, so that's nice. Well, I'm glad I can contribute to you, Malidus. That's an awesome premise, by the way, Green Force. If you do have a Google Doc or something, I would love to see it in the Discord. Because I'd love to see other people's homebrews too. We are due for another homebrew review at some point. I've only done it once, but on the channel, I did a homebrew review where I had people submit their homebrews, and I would read them and critique and/or gush about them, maybe assist with building them on stream. We need to do that soon. We should plan that. And in the lores, Sikoris must provide regiments for the Imperial Guard. I think you sent a dead link. The link on my Twitch should be up to date. Hi, Beaky Man. How are you? IG Twitch doesn't like links. Mine is not very original. It's basically Necromunda, but way more exhausted in terms of what they can produce. There's nothing wrong with that. It just means that you're taking inspiration. I think that's perfectly valid. IG Twitch doesn't like the links. I thought I had them all updated. Do I not? I use it to excuse why my Warhammer army has no consistent colors or types of army. That's fair. I understand that. That's the wrong brush. What am I doing? That's one of the reasons I like painting orcs, is because they don't necessarily have to be all of the same clan. Just say I'm painting a warband or a tribe, I suppose. Like my Cadians are not actual Cadians, but they are Obscura stimmers from the rust piles near the edge of the main hives. See, I like that, because now you're expanding on the deep lore. Malidus, is there a link I need to update? Because I thought I had them all fixed. If I don't, I can go do that real quick. The link I need to update in the name of him on Terra. The link I need to update in the name of him on Terra. Interesting. All right, let me try and remedy that. Interesting. All right, let me try and remedy that. Oh, it's playing the audio from my stream. That's not preferable. Promise we'll get back to streaming. Trying to solve this issue. Maybe. At some point. Excuse me. My bad. Sorry for being so persistent. 30 years old, and this is the first time any other human has shown even a hint of interest in the lore of my Imperial Guard regiment. Well, I love homebrews, so I'm here for it. 100%. Alright, I'm gonna move over. I'm gonna change stations real quick. I'm gonna try to get this Discord updated. Okay, it is updated on Twitch. Let me double check YouTube to make sure that's still working. No, it's not in chat. It's on my page. I will get a bot set up at some point. Or on my channel. Too broke to buy Patreon. I feel that. It's updated on Twitch and YouTube. Okay. Think I got it fixed. Let me know if I did it. All right. I wish I could try something that they gave the UI designers over at Amazon. I concur. I can't navigate Twitch for anything. Okay, so you got it? Sweet. Awesome. All right, welcome in. Logged in on the browser? All right. Please enjoy the link in your desktop Discord app. Yeah, I changed the link directly from the app, so it should function normally. Okay, now I gotta do these chains. Works now? Good. Anyway, as I was saying, welcome in. This is our Discord. See, you guys have been talking a lot on here, and I don't know what's going on. Oh, yep, 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 yep. Definitely caught in the act. Oh, the potato cam. You weren't wrong. Ugh. Ugh. Barf. Oh, that dude looks sick, Melodus. What do I use as a background? Sometimes I use black construction paper and just fold it up and just put it behind the model. And then sometimes I use a laptop and find a background and just put it on the laptop. And that works out pretty well too. It just depends on the situation. And sometimes I'd just take pictures on my desk. That works for me too. A little bit extra in here. I'm gonna paint this skull. I can't tell if it's ornamental. Actually, it's significantly smaller, so it's probably ornamental. So I'm just gonna go ahead and bronze that up too. Then I'll just Agrax over all of it. Yeah, if I'm in a really desperate situation where I just don't want to pull out anything for a background, I'll just do my desk. I don't really have a full army painted at the moment, so I don't have any full army showcases. That is something I would like to do, probably on my YouTube at some point. At some point. We will see. And on a thingy given to me by my mother back in 2014. Hey, me too. Not 2014, but my mom gave me this table in 2018. That's kind of what I've been using ever since I started modeling. Actually, I started on the floor. And then I upgraded. And my first Marines back on the floor too. There we go. One and the same. Oh, I was gonna get the spiky bits on the front of the barrel too. You saw how those turned out? I did. They weren't that bad. Hello, Pasta Puffin. Do you like orcs? I do like orcs. Got all of them done in less than an hour. Modern me is envious of the turnover. Oh, that'd be great. Do you have a lore suggestions chat? Or does that go under lore questions? Suggestions for what exactly? Like for your own? You like Gene Stealer cults? I never got into Gene Stealer cults. I like Tyranids, but I never really delved into the cults. I guess my question, Green Force, is what specifically are you looking for? Never met anyone else who liked the cults and have the models. I've never been... I can't say that I don't like them. They just really haven't appealed to me. Post a pic. I suppose if what I'm understanding... Well, it's scary. They can be scary. If you're looking for advice on how to do your homebrew, I would put that in lore questions. Okay. So I think other than the eye lenses and the wash, I should probably do that. Oh, Agrax. Huh. Brushes need to go back in the drawer. Cults are weird, since I would love them if they were super grimdark, like 9th edition Codex art, but they're often a bit cartoony with some of the official models. Yeah, I agree. They're a little cartoon heavy. They're hard to take seriously. They're very, like, modern. No, maybe not modern, but very traditional sci-fi build. They look like they would have come straight out of Star Trek. They only become cartoon after they have ruined the world. Anyone else here read Warhammer books? If not, do you mind if I spoil the Kane books? I do read the books. I don't know if I have any Kane. Yeah, I don't. Let me look. Um, I do not have any of the Kane books, but by all means, spoil away. I guess, but some designs, I think, fail to ride the line between menacing and laughable. Not all the way caught up with Kane, but I don't care. Yeah, I think, personally, I think Votan kind of fall under the same category. As they're cool and interesting, but they're hard to take seriously. And I think most of that is just attributed to the fact that we don't know a ton about them yet. Because GW is being very slow about releasing any lore for them. Which to me is odd because I feel like there's a lot of demand for it. Like, people are really vibing with them. How do you spoiler tags on Discord? Oh boy, I couldn't tell you that. I'm not versed enough in Discord, I guess, either. Also, I was reading through my old Dark Heresy rulebooks, and I never realized how fleshed out Rakghoul are as a faction. Like, Fantasy Flight Games literally gave them an equivalent of a codex with unit variety. Interesting. Just stop reading if it's super spoilery. Yeah, with Warhammer, I'm not super concerned about spoilers because I already know a lot of the stuff that happens. Like, I'm reading the Night Lord trilogy right now. I already know what happens, but I'm reading it anyway because there's some fantastic books. It's a story about a Commissar Caiaphas Kane, hero of the Imperium, his good friend. Do you, though? Do you know what happens in the Night Lord trilogy faceplant? I do. I'm very well aware of what happens in the end. I'm like halfway through the second book right now. But because of me delving into lore 2, but before actually reading into the books, I already know what happens. But I'm okay with that because they're wonderfully written. Much like the Horus Heresy books. Yeah, Votan are one of the biggest misses with a 40k faction. We desperately need new Xenos, and it sucks how bad their integration has been, especially with the retcons between them, Squats, Demiurge. With all the characters, I'm not even sure the first 2 Night Lord books are even good books. They are. They are objectively good books. That is a hill I will die on. Yeah, I personally can't get into Votan, but I see the appeal and I see people's demand for more on them, and they're just not getting it. And I don't really understand why. Because they have a lot of potential to be grimdark. They're like a cross between Mechanicum and insert other faction here. They're like Mechanicum light. Much less zealotous, but just as passionate about what they're fighting for. There is no demand. There's a lot of demand. I've talked within the last three trips to various game stores that are nearby me. I've run into at least 2 people who are picking up Votan and want to know more about them. And their lore is severely lacking as compared to anything else. Especially as a new-ish faction. I feel like they deserve better, because if GW wants them to get the attention that other factions have gotten, then there needs to be more about them. I know multiple people who like Votan and are building armies. Well, as far as the community is concerned too, it's pretty high up there as far as demand. Because I've seen multiple YouTubers, multiple Instagram pages. They are all requesting more. But GW is a little more focused on Titus than they are about new faction. Granted, how long has it taken the Tau to receive good fleshed out lore? Because Farsight was what, 8th edition? I don't know how Votans sell, but there's a lot of people I know who have a box or two, but I've never seen a full army. I think that says more about the size of the range and recency of the army. What are they, 2, 3 years old? Tower still kind of lacking in some ways, and no, Farsight was back in the very start of Tau. Were they really? Or him? Because I thought he was kind of the reason that Tau accelerated in their lore a little bit. Like the overall interest. Did they not recently retcon the Tau so they never had faster than light travel in the lore? If they did, I am unaware of that. Super Corpos who own Games Workshop. Hey, 40k being expanded and fun. It is kind of becoming a corporate cesspool. However, I am one of the few, and I've explained this before, but I am one of the few people who are okay with GW changing and retconning specific things and taking the lore in specific directions, because it means that they are remaining steadfast in their IP. And I've attributed this to the main thing that I've attributed it to is the Tolkien estate. Because the Tolkien estate desperately want J.R.R. Tolkien's world of Middle-earth to be respected in all of its aspects. And anyone else taking something and doing something with it would be besmirching it, because they are so adamant that it stays true to what it is. Rather than giving fan service, rather than letting someone else do whatever they want to it, they're true to themselves. And so it's going to stay that way. Not to say that GW is perfect, and that corporate decisions don't play a lot of decisions, or a lot of role in the decision making, because I'm fully aware that it does. Because one prime example of something as an IP that has been absolutely decimated is Star Wars. Everybody knows Star Wars sucks. Post 2015, post Disney acquisition, Star Wars sucks because the creator of the universe doesn't have an influence in it anymore. So it is no longer true to itself. It is no longer Star Wars. That is one thing that I respect about Games Workshop, is they won't just let anybody do whatever they want willy-nilly throughout their universe. And that may be a hot take, but I don't really care. Literally playing third with a bud, the very first Tau Codex. He got a book series semi-recently, though, that a bunch of Tau fans hate. At the same time, the retcon Eldar Wraithbone not being made from the warp, just by normal rocks and such. Yeah, I think that's because of the, what is it, Warpstone in AOS. The damn Tau lore is written as if they have faster than life travel. Just an empire. Well, the Tau Empire hasn't really... It's not really that expansive. When you look at the map, they just take up a tiny little corner. Star Wars was always mid-hef, and I'll die on that hill. George just made boring Dune. Star Wars was my first love. I love the Clone Wars series and Cartoon Network. I haven't enjoyed Star Wars in years. It had its moments, but those moments have passed. Same with Halo. Tiny little corner is very large. It is very large. But they have had time. Not enough time to overtake the entire galaxy, but it's a very minuscule little corner. And they've only been around for, what, 3,000 years? All right, so oh, and I need to do the toothy bits on the pauldrons. I always forget about those. Clone Wars came out when I was a kid, so it had me hooked for a while. I've never had much appreciation since I was a kid. Halo 1, 2, 3, and peak. Or 1, 2, and 3 are peak. Yeah, I grew up on Star Wars. The very first Star Wars I ever watched was Return of the Jedi. Because I was like 4 years old, 5, maybe 6. I don't remember. But my cousin sat me down and we watched it, and I was enthralled. And then I became a diehard Star Wars fan. I got into the lore. I did the same thing that I do with Warhammer. Wrote my own stuff. Um, and it's not a popular opinion, but Attack of the Clones will forever be my favorite Star Wars movie. I don't know if it's nostalgia or the fact that I like political intrigue. Watch the OG Star Wars trilogy. George Lucas cannot write human interactions, but his ability to write fire, lore, and setting is unrivaled. That's partially true. It is rivaled by Tolkien, but he was a master at writing a sci-fi setting. All right, now the model is done, and now we do the base. Tolkien is Tolkien, and Tolkien will remain Tolkien. Setting never had much substance that I could latch onto. A lot of my appreciation for the setting and visuals. What I think he was actually best at is hampered by how much he borrowed and how many talented artists he had working for him. He did borrow a lot, and he has explained that in interviews. In my own opinion, and the only stuff I really care about is the clones and Clone Wars. Aside from that, the lore, what's going on, really slips by me. I used to be hyper invested in the lore. I was a huge fan of it from the get-go. And as far as anything that is Lucas related, actually, I don't even think that's the right color. Whoops. This is the right color. My bad. Lucas related lore, so or anything that took place during the time of Lucas's ownership. So like the Old Republic, count that. And like even the stuff now that has been relegated to Legends, like the novels and stuff. But I was telling a buddy of mine the other day, I would love to get back into Star Wars, but Disney is really stopping that from happening. Like, I love Warhammer so much better than I ever loved Star Wars as a kid, which makes me sad. And like the nostalgia factor is still there for loving Star Wars, but I can't get into it like I used to. I think if George could write character interactions like Frank Herbert, would have been way more successful long term. Very good artist, so that his movie was supposed to look awesome and great. Traditional Star Wars is very traditional. Hero faces evil, beats not kind of. No, Disney Star Wars is not Star Wars and will never be Star Wars. I refuse to acknowledge that any of it is Star Wars, except the only thing that I really enjoyed that Disney has ever produced as far as Star Wars goes is Rogue One. Because it is set in an already established time period with already established lore and things that were not fully explained in the original trilogy. So I very much enjoyed Rogue One. But that's it. Warhammer is adult sci-fi. So hold your hand. It says the world is okay. There's just bad stuff we have to overcome. Warhammer shows you the reality of life. Warhammer holds nothing back. This is an absolute fact. And I am 100% okay with it. Yes, Tolkien did borrow his stuff from IRL lore. I think that's one of the perks of being an artist. Is you are influenced by everything you see around you, including other art. All right. There. All right. I have been going for a very long time. So, instead of waiting around for that base to dry before I wash and dry brush it, I think I'm going to call it quits here for tonight because it is late. I need to go to bed. But thanks everyone for joining. Thank you to the new subs, or new followers rather. I haven't checked YouTube. I don't know if I have any new subs. But that's fine. Thank you for everyone who partook in the Discord. You can find me on Instagram, faceplant104, Patreon, patreon.com/faceplant104, or something like that in that order. And my Discord can also be found at places and things. So that'll be it for me, and I will see everybody for another painting stream next week. There may be another gaming stream between now and then. We will see. So yeah, that's gonna be it. So everybody have a good night and Happy New Year.